Welcome back to Go Figure. Today we're on lesson 51 of Saxon Algebra Half, decimal part of a number. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. All right, here are a couple warm-up problems. Go ahead and pause the video and work those out. Press start when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, this first one, we have 3/10 times 93. I'm going to rewrite this as 93 times 0.3 and multiply that. 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 9 is 27, and then our decimal point will have one digit behind the decimal point, so 27.9. This next one, 93 divided by 0.3. I'm going to rewrite this as long division. And when I'm dividing by a decimal, the best way to do it is to move your decimal point here so that you don't have a decimal divisor. And then since we moved our decimal point here, we need to annex a 0 here. And then we can divide. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And then 0 divided by 3 is 0. So 310. Our learning objectives today is to look at the equation for the decimal part of a number, and then to translate and solve decimal equations. Okay, so a few lessons ago we learned about a fractional part of a number, and that equation was f for fraction times a number equals b another number. And the decimal part of a number is very similar equation. We just replaced the fraction with d for decimal, because a decimal is just another form of a fraction. And again, we can translate this sentence like almost verbatim if we break it down into parts. So a decimal part is represented by d. Of is the multiplication symbol. A number, a, is our equal sign, and then another number, b. So if we have two of these unknowns, or two of these letters that we know, we can always figure out the third one that we don't know. So our first example, what decimal part of 120 is 51? So let's break this down again using that formula. D times A equals B. Okay, so here's our question. What decimal part? So that's our unknown. So our D is going to stay the same. And then of means multiply. 120 is a number. Is our equals. And then 51 is our other number. Now, to solve for D, all we need to do is divide both sides of our equation by 120. What we do to one side, we need to do to the other. So when you do this division, our 120 cancels out, and you're just left with our variable D. And then I already figured these out with the calculator earlier, and that leaves us with 0.425. And that is our decimal part of that sentence, or of that question. Our second example, 6/10 of what number is 72? So again, we can start with our general formula, D times A equals B. And then let's plug in the things that we know. So 6/10, that's our decimal. So we're going to write 6/10 as 0.6, our multiplication sign, and then of what number? There's our unknown, so we'll keep that A there. Is, there's our equal sign, and 72 is our B. Okay, to solve for A, we need to divide by our 6/10. So on both sides of our equation, so that cancels out, and A equals 120. And it's totally fine if we're using a calculator for these problems, just because we've already learned how to multiply and divide by decimals. As long as you understand the process, go ahead and use a calculator, just for ease and more efficiency. All right, next example. 6/10 of 72 is what number? Okay, this is pretty similar to the last one, but you notice the known, the what number here, and it's sort of reversed. So let's again start with our general equation, d times a equals b. Our decimal part is 6/10, so we'll put 0.6 again. And of means multiply. A in this case is 72 equals what number? That's our b that we do not know. So to solve for b, we just need to multiply 6/10 times 72. And when you do that multiplication, you get b equals 43.2. All right, so go ahead and try these 3 practice problems on your own. Pause the video and then press start when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, first one, 7/10 of what number is 14/100. So let's write this as 7/10 is 0.07 of, there's our times, what number? A is 0.14. To solve this, we just need to divide by 7/10 on both sides of our equation. Those cancel out. We're left with A equals 0.2. Second question, 7/100 of 86 is what number? 7/100 is going to be 0.07 of is our times 86 is equals what number? There's our unknown, b. Now we just need to multiply 7/100 times 86 and we get b equals 6.02. Again, totally fine if you use a calculator for that. And lastly, what decimal part of 72 is 30.24? So what decimal part? There's our unknown, so I'm going to keep that as a d, and then multiply by 72 equals 30.24. To solve for d, we need to divide both sides of our equation by 72. 72's cancel out on the left, and then we have d equals 0.42. All right, good. So just to review, there's our general equation. A decimal part of a number is another number. If you can just keep that formula in your mind, you just need to substitute the known pieces of that equation in there to solve for the one unknown. So the main thing is just to know what part of your phrase, your question, is the piece that belongs to each of these letters. And remember, the word of means multiply, is means equals. That's all for today. So go ahead and do problem set 51 and then read lesson 52 in your textbook. And give a like and subscribe. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.